Okay, starting interview with one Mr. Jed Thornton. Date is 5th of April, 2005. Okay, Mr. Thornton, you've called me here saying you have a great story for my paper. You said it's something to do with local unsolved murders?
When I was a kid, we lived in a little town called Park. Living in a small town sucks. There ain't nothing to do, ain't nowhere to go. Most of my days as a kid consisted of sleeping, listening to the wind, spitting in tin cans, or exploring the neighborhood. Park's almost enough to drive a kid crazy with boredom. And being poor in a small town is even worse, because you couldn't even go to a cinema show. Of course, what happened to me was way worse than any picture show.
Okay, I'm not sure what this has to do with the murders of...
Back then, I had my two best friends, Jimmy and Jake. You see, his real name was Jacob, but he hated it so we just call him Jake. I knew them since I met them in kindergarten and hung out with them almost every day. Jake, James, and I had a serious thing for getting scared. We'd read scary books, laughing at how fake it all seemed. We laughed when the horrible plot finally revealed who the killer was, having figured it out at the very start. The only books we really liked were the psychological ones, the ones that were more on getting in your head than splashing blood all around. We were teens, and being teen boys, we'd fight all the time, mostly wrestling and fucking about pretending to box each other. We never really hurt each other, just playing around. We also liked to sneak out at night and explore the old part of town, or we weren't supposed to go there. Something about the buildings being pieces of shit waiting to fall. But who cared? We were bored, thrill-seeking teens.
Okay, you mentioned Jimmy. Is that Jimmy James, the one who...
So one night, we decided to explore this one house. Some real reeker of a house. There was something of a legend round town that some kid killed his family in this house after dying, and that the whole family was all found dead in the bathroom, half-eaten with a look of horror on their face. My friends and I laughed at that story, laughing about how they said he killed him after his death. That ain't possible. Once you's dead, Jim'd always say. Then we laugh again at the stupid old tale.
Okay, but what does all this have to do with the murders?
Course, small town legends are sometimes based in truth.
Okay, I think this interview is over.
So we decided to go there on the night of Saturday, the 15th of July, the day that always be burned in my memory. Was hot that day with a little wind, and we didn't wear much. Jake had some cut-off jean shorts and no shirt. Jimmy had a pair of jeans on and an unbuttoned white shirt. I was wearing a pair of jeans and a no-sleeve shirt. When time came, we did as we always did before exploring. We grabbed some bottles of water, our flashlights, some spare batteries, some snacks. I think they were beef jerky. And we each had our penknives. Well, nothing special, our penknives. Just some basic 2-inch blades and a wood handle.
So those were the murder weapons?
Being the abandoned part of town, there wasn't no power going there, and it was really, really dark. So we was walking to the house with only moonlight and our flashlights got in the way. When we reached the house, we looked it over. This being the first time we ever saw it in the dark. It was a 2-story house with a bay window on either side of the second floor. There was a big old balcony in the very front, and what looked like rope hanging from one of the bars on it. There was 2 big old oaks, dead as can be, in front of the house, one on each side of the yard. So we started out the front stairs, and once we were on the porch, Jim got his foot stuck in a hole. It was quite a spectacle, and we laughed at him trying to get his foot out. About 5 minutes later, he got his foot out, but lost his shoe in the progress. Scowling, he reached into the hole to get his shoe, and soon after, started screaming at the top of his lungs. This, of course, scared the shit out of me and Jake, and we rushed to help him. By the time we reached him, he pulled his shoe out of the hole and started laughing at us, saying, "That was for fucking not helping me get out of the hole." We slugged him in the arm, called him, "I'm an asshole," and then we opened the front door and headed inside. The first thing that hit us was the smell. It smelled like a roadkill rabbit that we happened across a few months back. That house smelled like death.
Okay, so can we get to the murders already? I've got enough filler for weeks worth of papers.
So anyhow, there we was. 3 teen boys in an old, said-to-be haunted house. So what do? We went exploring. Of course, being teen boys, we had no fear of being alone in an old house. So we split up. Jimmy went upstairs, Jake went downstairs to the basement, and I went about exploring the main floor. After a bit of exploring, I come across this notebook on the dining table. Of course, I'm thinking I'd never open it, but lo and behold, I did. So I popped it open and started reading it. You read it too, and then come back here, and I'll tell you some more.
Okay, I will. I'll see you soon, Jed.
January 15th, 1961. We moved today. I hate having to see our old house fade into the distance. I grew up in that house, and put up the biggest fight to stay there. But being only 12 doesn't really give you much pull in the family. Dad said we had to move since we had to look for work after being canned, and had gotten a hint there was an easy job with good pay here. We were all crammed in a station wagon listening to the Beatles' new hit on the radio. The only problem is, I don't like the Beatles. When we pulled up in the driveway, I groaned. This was our new house? It looked like a ruin. When I asked Dad about it, he said that it was a junker, yes, but that he had gotten a really good deal on it. Dad then announced to the family that we would be fixing the house up starting tomorrow. Ugh. January 16th, 1961. Not only is it freezing cold in this house, it smells horrible. It smells like dusty, rotten mold. My father said it'd smell better when we clean up more, but this smell is almost making me puke. I finally was able to unpack all my stuff. I can't wait to go exploring the town. I hope there are other kids here. January 17th, 1961. The movers finally brought in our furniture. It felt good to lay on my bed. I haven't had to sleep in a sleeping bag last night. I even found my lucky nickel under the mattress. I thought I'd forgotten that in our old house. Dad says he needs help sanding the floors. Finally, we'll be able to walk on the floors without shoes. January 26, 1961. I noticed something odd today. While in the bathroom, I was looking at myself in the mirror, and they looked just like a face. I know, noticing a scratch on the mirror is kind of far-fetched, but there it is. It looks like an old man's face, all wrinkled and sagging. It's kind of cool to look at, but I have more cleaning to do. February 10th, 1961. Something weird is definitely going on here. Those scratches on the mirror, they changed. Now they look like a skull. When I showed my dad it, he just shrugged it off and told me my imagination was getting away with me. It still scares me quite a bit. But there's more work to be done. I can't sleep. I keep dreaming about that skull. February 15th, 1961. The scratches changed again. It looks like a sprawled out body. The head seems to be balanced on the chin, and the arm and legs are at the sides. This is really freaking me out. I tried to get my dad to look at it, but he yelled at me, said my mind should be elsewhere than making up stories about scratches on the mirror. Then he slapped me across the face and told me to clean the attic. Screw that. I'll do it tomorrow. February 17th, 1961. The scratch in the mirror went back to a skull today. It's changed between 3, 1 a day, in the same order it originally went through. Old man, skull, body. Is there some sort of pattern I'm missing? February 21st, 1961. A new scratch came up. A hatchet. No doubt about its shape. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I asked my dad who lived here before us. He said it was a long time ago. About 100 years ago. And it was just some old man. This interested me. I asked the authorities who arrested the old man, Joseph Maver, for the murders of 33 people. And they found their corpses in his basement. They found some weird carvings on each body that they couldn't decode. And all had their limbs cut off with a hatchet. I also heard from them that the house was built on an Indian ritual site, and that the rituals there were not of the nice kind. This is pretty freaky. I can't sleep again. Can't stop thinking about the murders. March 14th, 1961. Something really weird happened today. The old man showed up and it spoke to me. It told me to let it in. Then the scratch changed before my eyes to the skull and hatchet. He said it would be so much fun to kill again. I was then grabbed from behind by something I couldn't see. I fought, but eventually was overpowered and slammed to the ground. The thing was speaking again, saying something in a language I never heard before. Its grip loosened, and somehow I managed to get away. I will never go in there again. The mirror calling me. Must go. Must let it in. Same thing every day, same thing every day, same thing every day, same thing every day. Same thing every day. Mirror, 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 mirror. Old man, hatchet, skull, body. Old man, hatchet, skull, body. Old man, hatchet, skull, body. Bodies come after me through the mirror. Drag me in the tub. I need to bring family. See what I find. Kill. Eat.
Okay, I'm back. What the hell did I just read? That book was...
That's what I found there. That book is what's holding me in this God-forsaken place. Anyhow, back to what happened. So we was exploring the house, and I had found and read that book. So I was really freaked out about this journal. Suddenly, I heard a scream from both upstairs and down. I didn't know which way to go, so I went upstairs. Jimmy was sitting in an old bathtub, staring at the mirror, mouthing mere scratches. So I looked in the mirror and nearly shit my pants. There was the scratches of the face of the old man. They was clear as day. And I had a voice in my head saying, "Let me in." I says aloud, "No," just as Jimmy says yes. There was a stream of light from the mirror to my friend for a few seconds. While this was happening, Jim was spazzing out, twitching all over the place. He grabbed out his pocket knife. It started carving into his flesh, all while speaking in this weird tongue I had never heard before. After the symbol was carved, he slit his own throat.
Wow. I can't believe it.
Believe it. Then Jay comes upstairs from the basement, all covered in blood and holding a hatchet. I asked him what he was doing, and he says, working. I asked him to specifically, and he said, helping Joseph. He was a lot bigger than me, so I couldn't really resist him when he dragged me down into the basement. I saw what he was doing. He was cutting limbs off of corpses in the basement and carving symbols in them. I knew what I had to do. I had to kill him before he started his dirty deeds of killing for Joseph. So I got out my pocket knife and I opened it. He, laughing, grabbed it by the blade and yanked it out of my hand. And then he started carving into my flesh with it. This is what he did to me. This is what he did to all those poor people. He damned their souls to hell forever. I dreamed about this shit every night I sleep. I hear them screaming in agony in those hot, heartless flames.
So, how did you survive?
I tore out his throat with my bare fucking teeth. That's how. After that, the mirror upstairs shattered, and I saw the old man with a sea of fire in his eyes. I hauled my ass out of there faster than shit.
And then you were found in the general store clutching that book with the symbol carved in your chest.
Yes. May I borrow your pen? I need to write something down.
Sure.
Never again, Joseph. Never again, Joseph. Never again, Joseph. Never again, Joseph.
Local newspaper editor and 11 others found dead in mental institute. Patient lose. Crime story, page 2. After stabbing to death senior editor Hector Maltez, an unknown patient assumed to be Jediah Thornton, suspected of the murder of 35 or more people, continued his killing spree on the anniversary of his arrest, taking 11 other lives, leaving 2 people in critical condition, and injuring 5 others. Jediah Thornton is diagnosed with schizophrenia and dissociative identity disorder, and should be considered extremely dangerous. He may also go by his other personalities, Jimmy James, Jake Thorborn, or Joseph Mavar. The last may seem familiar for the old local legend of Dr. Gone Murderer. Also missing is a journal created by the killer, highlighting town lore and his own personal delusions. Patient is Caucasian, has shaved brown hair, blue eyes, and a scar of an unknown symbol carved into his chest. If he or the journal are seen, please call local law enforcement immediately. and do not attempt to personally apprehend this person. Be smart. Be safe. Suspected cult murderer in Polk. 4 corpses found. Crime story, page 4. 5 years after the local Jediah Thornton escaped from the mental institution and evaded capture, a new string of murders have started. These murders have the same grisly details of dismembered corpses and symbol carvings involving the same symbol as the scar on Jediah Thornton and the corpses found 5 years past. A full-scale manhunt has been declared on Jediah Thornton after finding the journal near one of the bodies. Thornton is a Caucasian male and is last known to have shaved brown hair, has blue eyes, and has the scar of an unknown Native American symbol carved into his chest. If he is seen, please call local law enforcement immediately and do not attempt to apprehend this person. Be smart. Be safe.